All right, my friends, welcome back to the RCSparks studio, where once again I have laid out all of my parts for my LESU 574, what's supposed to be a LIEBHERR wheel loader, but instead I have gone completely the Duzan orange and dark, like a gunmetal gray and black combo. I suggest painting yours whatever color you want, whatever makes you happy, whatever model you want, you got it. The last time I left you guys, we had just finished installing the two rams on the bottom. You can see one brass ram right there, and then the other one on the bottom right here. This is to help the wheel loader articulate. This is the pivot point in the middle. And of course, this just moves back and forth when I have two hands or hydraulic power moving it. There we go. So what I've done is, because I have very large hands and there are very small parts here, it is very difficult for me to get in and to do all these tiny little tedious things for you, like running these hydraulic lines, because it does take quite a bit of patience, quite a bit of strength in your digits as well. It looks like I lost, or I did not put in one of my bolts. Good eye. Thank you for pointing that out. You can also see that I have gone ahead and put in the lower rams. The top ram is for the bucket. The lower rams are for the arm, of course. And if we look over here, there is the arm right there. So I think we're just going to really kind of focus on getting those axles on today, maybe getting that front arm on. I've been working on this for a few hours already, but just to get to this point, if you're going to be building one of these at home, somebody asked me to do a difficulty scale, and that's difficult for me to do. I would say a 7 out of 8 difficulty for me, just to try to rate something like this, because everyone's skills are different. Everyone's experiences are different. If this is your first model you're building, I suggest you do something completely different, because on your scale you might suggest that this is a 11 out of 10, when truly somebody like more experienced builders that are out there could probably get this done, in a couple of weekends or during the week. Or some people take their time and take all year to build this. On RCSparks Studio and RC Adventures, we take about a month. Okay, Magic Instruction Book, you tell me all of your secrets, so let me know what we need. We need the M20 and 12 of those, okay, and then 12 M2 lock nuts. Looks like we're going to be getting, the rocker on the bottom. Here's the rocker right here. We're going to attach one of these axles to the rocker plate. Let's have a look at this axle here. Does it matter front or back? I'm not sure. I love the scale. Look at this, plus the LESU stamp. It's beautiful. Look at that. It actually says LESU on either side. If you look at it, the L is on the bottom, and then E, S, and U right up to the top, which makes it kind of like this lion's head. Very, very cool. Lots of work to go. This is a remote locking differential. This is the remote locking system right here. So it's just cable pulled, and when you pull it, it locks into place, and when you release it, it unlocks. Beautiful. I love the detail on this. Let's see here. M220, I put on the end. Perfect. And then I'm going to need the lock nuts. Those are not them. Where are you? Aha! Alright, I'll move the cable for the brushless motor. This is the motor for the pump that's right here for the hydraulics. I'm going to identify where the top is, so this will be on the top, which means I want this to roll over just slightly and then to be on that rocker. This is actually, a loader like this doesn't have a suspension. Instead, as it tries to conform along the rocks, it has this rock, or the dirt, it has this rocker that allows it to move back and forth. Mostly the rider inside, in a full-size one, they're cushioned by their seat, if it has a suspension, as well as the air in the tires. Thankfully, there's no one riding inside these machines, so comfort is not a factor. And these screws will drop down from the top to the bottom, so all the lock nuts will be on the bottom. Slide it straight through here, except I'll be going into the axle. Does that feel good? So tiny you can barely see it. And just getting this done. So there was 12 of those long screws, but I needed to use 8 of them on this back axle. I look forward to finding out how I change or what changes, but look at that. Such a great pivot point. Those axles, like, leave a comment right now. Is this something that's super cool to you? Or man, you'd wish I'd go back to trail trucks. What's funny is I actually have done many trail truck videos since the beginning of the year, but I gotta tell you, since YouTube Gold starts, and I get fascinated with this heavy duty equipment, lots of different videos on the way, of course. My channel now has more than 1,500 RC adventures out there. You know, I can't even say, I gotta have at least 100 different builds, lots of different entertaining videos from all different areas of the radio control hobby, and I figure if you haven't checked it out already, you might like some of them. So go ahead, click on the videos section of my YouTube channel and you'll find more. So now I got this one and I only see 4 screws, which is exactly what I was talking about. So that's interesting. So it's got some sort of cross brace. And okay, so I will do that next. Hello, Mr. Axel. I have to have super strength just to do that even. I just did this joke in the last episode of YouTube Gold. It sounds like I gotta go to the bathroom. Wow. So cool. I've never built a wheel loader before. And just to see these axles, like, look at that. How sexy is that? I am loving that front. It's all metal, right? Like there's only like 2 or 3 pieces of plastic on here, and that's basically just for the glass to be put in. It looks like some sort of rolling cannon, doesn't it? Insane. I hope you have dropped a like click already just for the ingenuity of this company coming out with a wheel loader that you can actually build. So cool. If you guys are looking for more information about stuff like this or stuff you see in my videos, always make sure to check out the title and always make sure to check out the description box where you may find helpful links or more information that I leave around to get you closer to your own RC adventure. Alrighty, so next one that is done, so I get to move on to 12, which is putting more hydraulic tube. I feel like stringing hydraulic tube and fittings a lot like I do with bead locks on radio control hobby cars. They are a lot of work and your fingers are going to be sore at the end of it. No, but no big deal. This is just a small one. I'm going to put some braiding on the outside of this because this is going to be an exposed tube. I've got to get the fitting right here. That's going to go right onto the pump itself, and then the tube with a fitting that goes onto the bottom where the tank is. Alrighty, here is the 2 fittings. So I only need 1 of those, so I'll save the other. Once again, as a reminder, if you are doing any kind of hydraulic fitting, make sure to use some sort of thread sealant specifically for hydraulic, that it can withstand the hydraulic oil or whatever oil you are using. And I'm just going to use a small amount on the thread of the fitting before I thread it into the actual pump itself. Wait. Something doesn't make sense here. I'm supposed to put that fitting into this block right here, and there's another hole right beside it on that pump, and then behind it there's a 3rd hole right there. But you know what I see on mine? There's no holes. Where's the holes? Here's 2 holes over here. There's none over here. Oh shit. They're on the other side. It's assembled wrong. They put it together wrong at the factory. Or I mounted it upside down. That's what it is. It's mounted upside down. Yes, they did it right. I'm just the idiot. Alright, as I was saying, you want to take your threaded piece there. This is for the hose. And put it on the left-hand side. And then you want to push the hydraulic tube onto the fitting, then take a spring collar, slide it all the way down over the fitting and the tube. Then you want to use what they call burden tube, which is just like this spring tubing, to go over and protect the actual tube itself, because this is on the outside of the machine. It's going to get bumped and scraped and scratched, and you want to make sure to have some sort of protection so you're not spilling hydraulic fluid all over your mine site or construction site or whatever you're using. And a few moments later, there's the spring in place, the sheathing goes on. I've left quite a bit of room here because you can stretch this out, but this is an M5 fitting right here. It's a 90 degree that comes out of the tank. I did add some of the 545 Loctite already. This is the collar. Lots of things to remember here. You're going to have to turn this around. This is going to be fit over the end, which I'll need 2 fingers for. And then this slides over that to secure the line, and I'll show you what it looks like here in a moment. Like any good person, you just stretch out the spring. Probably need a little, you'll need to work it a little bit, hey? Back and forth, back and forth. But eventually, you will get it to where it needs to be, and it is protected. Yay! And they all rejoiced. Okay, something interesting just happened, and I wanted to make sure that it wasn't me this time, for sure. I'm looking at the axle here, the way it's set up, and it shows that there's 2 nuts on the bottom. Those nuts on the bottom are actually these things right here. These are actually going to be the cable holders for the locking differential. Now the locking diff will be pulled like this, with a cable that wraps around the bottom, and I've confirmed that this is on the bottom, and I've confirmed that this goes towards the top because you don't want this getting snagged or anything if it was flipped upside down. So I wanted to make sure here I could see that this was the bottom. This is where the tank is hooked up. That's right. There is the 2 nuts on the bottom. That's right. What kind of fuss am I talking about right now? Does anybody notice this? Because I always edit my videos as I go. Here is the LESU logo. Awesome. There is the LESU logo for the plate that I put on after I was done. I still got to fix that screw up top. After I was done with the hydraulics. But look at it. They're upside down. This one is upside down. So yes, I could turn this axle right side up if I wanted the logo to be right side up. But the way they have it in the thing here with the arm and the locking diff being out of the way, which is smart, it means that their logos are upside down. And these are not actually stickers. I don't think these are stickers. I think that's actually cut right in to the axle, but I'll have to confirm that. It's definitely metal. All right, so now another fitting right beside with more oil pipe. This is going to also be sheathed with that spring, the M3 nozzle right there, and it's going to be H2 pipe. Well, that's not a big deal. It's pretty small, same size we just used. And there's the second one I saved. And a small dab of hydraulic thread sealant, and then that can be placed there. Now the line that I'm working on is this one now coming up through the top. I flipped the loader over. This is the line that's coming from the pump, so this is pushing oil into the hydraulic block itself when anything asks for it. So I'm just going to back off both of these, and then we're going to have one that returns right down to the pipe right there. So it's going to have a flow in and a flow out, or an in and a return. And here you can see it hooked up. I chose not to put the spring on this because personally I don't like the look of the spring. I think it looks more scale with just the black lines, but hey, to each their own. I'd never say anything about anybody else's except go out and have a good time. Build what you want. So here is going to be the next one. I'm going to build a small tube. It's going to wrap around like you can see right here. But well, actually it looks like the one I just did here was backwards, so I should switch this around. I'll undo this and just switch this and this. It's just a little hose that I made, which is in the instruction book, and I added another M5 90 degree, and I'm just going to add it to the tank like that. Now, with that in place, that is going to seal the tank off except for the filling hole right here. I wonder where the expansion or relief valve is. I haven't seen anything like that yet. Maybe this will be a relief valve over there. I don't know. We'll see, but that's where it should go. even if it isn't and it's just a little cap or something, I could still put on another 90-degree fitting with a bit of a tube running through the back somehow, and then that way if there ever was an expansion or there was too much oil in there, it could just blurb out the back if it doesn't have one. Haven't got that far yet, but I'm just thinking ahead. Okay, next, step number 13 in this one book, I'm going to be hooking up the micro servo. Oh, it looks like a bigger servo actually. Nope, micro servo. So this is going to be probably for shifting because this has a 2-speed. So let me see how this is all done. So this all fits together. This is going to be for the locking differential. That's what this is, I think. Okay, so here's a detailed look. This is going to be the servo that pulls the cable, confirmed. And what this is going to do is sit down right in this little servo holder area, but it's going to sit what you and I would call upside down, but the whole unit is upside down right now, so we're putting it right side up. And once that's installed, then I need to get out some cable, or steel rope as they want to call it, and more burden tubes, slightly smaller. What I want to do is hook it into the end of that servo, and I want to run it. Now you can see the rear one goes along atop the back, at the bottom of the axle, as you can see, even though it looks like it's on top because it's flipped over, wraps around to the arm section. So that will be one portion. Then it must, there's a cable, that's what that was for. There is a cable stay right there. We installed that way back, I think, in episode 1. So here are the 2 cables that are already pre-done, and they were pre-packaged with the cable inside the spring sheathing, or loom, or whatever you'd like to call it. And I'm going to string it in to where the end of it is going to be going through the arm, and then I'll be stringing it all the way through this so it goes into the servo where it's supposed to stay. And a few moments later, the cable is in place all the way through. The sheathing is all the way through. I'm not crushing the sheathing with these screws. I just kind of clamp down on a little bit so it doesn't slide back and forth through the collars. Then this goes underneath along the other spring there, everything being covered, and to the wire stay, and then through to the horn. But you'll notice, there are 2 little cables here. What's that for? Well, if you look closely, I also did the back one. So that one wrapping around, it was supposed to go through. Don't worry about this servo. It's just there. It goes, wraps around, comes through, and to that cable stay. So as soon as this gets pulled for lock diffs, it pulls both cables. Sorry about the focus there. That's why I said very small parts, very hard to focus on when there's this many colors, close together, matching together. So there you go. Oh, what's this, you're wondering? Anybody catch this? Comment if you noticed it was just sitting there. Look at this servo, my friends. I went in as well. This is the shifting servo for the transmission. It's mounted up right beside the locking differential servo. Make sure if you're building along to pay attention to the lengths of servo horns. It does matter because it is a very tight fit in there. Okay, last thing I'm going to do today. Let's mount up some tires. Almost 1 pound each. These things are nicely weighted, especially to go onto those metal axles. So let's go ahead and get these tires over here. Now, these are going to be a gluing tire. I love the compound here. It's nice and soft. Most of these, I'm going to say soft and firm. Like you can see, I'm pushing down quite a bit. It's got a little bit of give in it, but it feels like a really good quality rubber. It doesn't feel like just hard, it's not plastic. It's not super firm for rubber. It feels like it actually has some comfort to it, which I know sounds kind of dumb because no one's inside of this riding in it. So I'm going to just stretch this around. They can be glued. I went ahead and painted this anyway. I'll probably glue these, but I know that these have a nice sticky grip to them as well. I'm wondering if gluing them is even going to be necessary. So I'll get these mounted up on the wheels. Basically what you have to do is just wrestle with the tire because it's nice and soft or pliable. If you add a little bit of strength, just push the rim right through. And then once you have a seal on one side, like that, as you can see, the other side's poking through, what I like to do is roll the rubber out and up. out and up, and it just kind of helps it pop right into place. If this is a good helpful tip, or if you're getting any helpful tips from my videos, please leave a comment and let me know. How long have you been watching the show, and what tip was it that helped you out? Or was it just in general? Look at that. Beautiful. Yeah. Let's go ahead and get that missing bolt up front. I like the fact that it's bolts and not screws everywhere. Look at that. A nice hex bolt. What? I can't mount up the wheels yet because they want me to install the drive shafts. That's okay though, I don't mind that at all. There's 2 drive shafts, and LESU's drive shafts are very nice. Notice the size difference, okay? Yes, I'm talking about the sizes of drive shafts. This whole show is innuendo. This is the smaller one. This is going to be going onto the back of the wheel loader right here. So you can tell that because this is the tank, and of course there's the pump, so Q1 goes on the back. The longer drive shaft going on the front of the machine. It comes with 4 set screws per drive shaft, so make sure to use all 4 for strength, especially when you're using 4-wheel drive, because you'll be pushing dirt and a lot of torque is being transferred from that motor into the differentials, but it's got to go through the drive shafts first. Aha, so starting to come together really nicely now. The whole drive line is in. Now will the book let me move on? Let me see here. Do I get to put on the tires finally? No, it wants me to do the arms. And the bucket. And then the tires. When do the tires get to go on? Can I put them on now? Just for good? Yeah. How many of these? Oh, just about 1,700 screws. Nice. Well, after what felt like thousands of screws later, I have the wheels and the tires mounted up to the wheel loader. Check it out. And keep in mind, every single screw has to have some Loctite or thread lock on it. That way, when it's out there doing work, you're not going to have anything vibrating and letting loose. Now, keep in mind, this loader is turning out to be much smaller than I anticipated. Here is my hand. I know you guys are like, what the yeah, exactly. But it is super heavy, which is nice. Like, this is almost as heavy as like my RC 4-wheel drive loader, for example. So this has a lot of power behind it, I'm assuming, because just these wheels alone, like this has to weigh about 13 pounds just as it sits. So it's a very solid little machine, my friends. I almost looks like it's like I said, a rolling cannon. But there you are, guys. I'm going to leave it there today. You see lots of servo wires dangling out. Got the electronics mostly in there. Just need to do the ESCs. And if you guys are staying tuned, please, I want to know, are you enjoying the build so far? What would you name this build? Let me know, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode of RC Adventures. Now get outside and have fun with RC, or if you're like me, heck, stay inside and build one.